Good evening. This is Maestro Cretella with a Heroes of the Storm replay cast. First time casting Heroes of the Storm, I'm actually a big fan of this game. On the blue team, we've got Poochie14 on Falstad, Steel on Artanis, Anthony Derp on Lili, Azirius on Diablo, and Dread on Li Ming. And on the red team, we've got Toasted Fork M on Arthas, Azquell on Vala, Herbitronic on Greymane, King Andrew on Tyrael, and Eris on Oriel. So this right here is actually a Hero League game that I played. May not be the highest level of play, but I thought I'd just try out my first cast on one of my own games. I'm actually King Andrew right here, kind of my alter ego. And right now my Hero League ranking was either about Gold 2 or Gold 3 when this game took place, which is roughly mid-tier. So this is, I guess, mid-tier gameplay, if even that. We'll see. I'm playing as Tyrael right here, the Archangel of Justice, a hero I'm really coming to like. He is a warrior class hero, which means his purpose is usually to deal damage. And sorry, made a total mistake there. His purpose is to tank damage rather than deal damage. His damage output is actually fairly low, and he's more about absorbing damage. One thing that's really unique about Tyrael is his Eldrone's Might ability. That's when he throws his sword. He will throw the sword, and on the impact, it will do a little bit of damage as well as slow whatever enemy heroes it hits. And he also has the option to reactivate the ability to teleport to his sword. And he can use that offensively or defensively. Offensively, you can use it to chase a fleeing hero, or defensively, you can use it to escape a dangerous situation. So right now we're at the early laning phase of the game. Focus in this part of the game is mostly just to kill minions to gain team experience. This is of course something that happens in really all MOBAs, but it's quite a bit faster and not as long as it would happen in, say, another MOBA. Alright, we've got a little bit of a light skirmish right here. I used Eldruin's Might to teleport to actually kind of body block Diablo, while Greymane right here does the majority of the damage. Greymane is this hero right here that Herbitronic is playing. He actually has two forms. He's got his human form, and he's also got his Worgen form, which might as well be werewolf. He is a very, very powerful hero, mainly damage, doesn't offer much control. He fights in ranged as a human, and then in melee when he transforms into his Worgen. He's actually very powerful in both forms, but his damage when he's in Worgen form is off the charts. Not a very tanky hero. He's an assassin class hero, so his focus really is on damage. He's a little bit hard to use though because he is kind of a glass cannon. Extremely, extremely powerful, but really not going to have the staying power of some of the heroes that we see here like Tyrael or Diablo. So both teams here going with a double warrior comp. On the blue team, we have the Diablo as well as the Artanis. Artanis, where is Artanis? Artanis, the leader of all Protoss. Generally not considered actually that great of a hero. Is not actually seen that much in competitive play, and he's usually more of a bruiser than a true warrior tank. Which means he's actually a little bit more powerful in terms of damage, but he doesn't offer the control that many other warriors offer. So this is actually the first tribute phase. This is Cursed Hollow, and the way this map works, there are different kinds of objective phases on every map of Heroes of the Storm. In this game, we have curse phases where a curse is spawning right here, and you fight over who can secure this tribute. Whichever team manages to secure 3 of these will cast a curse on their opponent. The curse, which we'll see later, disables enemy structures and also makes their minions, reduces minion health to 1. Anyway, I'm kind of in there, but my health is low. Vala, one of our assassins, tried to use her vault, which is her escape mechanism, to get out of there. But it looks like an attack had already kind of locked onto her before she had even activated that. Meanwhile, Arthas also goes down to Falstad. So I've explained the tanks, or the warriors, and warriors are generally classified into 2 separate classes of tanks or bruisers. Tanks being the real damage absorbers, whereas bruisers actually will do a bit more damage than true tanks. Tanks also usually offer more control in the form of slows and stuns, while the bruisers usually don't offer that as much. So Artanis is a warrior, but more of a bruiser. Diablo, I feel like he's definitely been referred to as a bruiser at some point, but he's definitely more of a tank than Artanis. Other class of heroes we have assassins. Right now it looks like both teams have 2 assassins. On our side, we've got Vala, the demon hunter right here. She's the one with the double crossbows, and she does a lot of damage just with her auto attacks. That means just when she does her basic attacks that don't require a special activation or any energy or mana. We also have Greymane, who I already talked before, very powerful assassin. On the blue team, they've got Li Ming. This is a spellcasting assassin. She is an extremely high-value hero who has seen a lot in competitive heroes play. She's got very, very long range and is very, very powerful. They've also got Falstead right here, the one flying the, I guess the Griffin, is it? It's like a Griffin or something like that. And he offers a lot, not just in terms of his damage, but especially when we see some of his ultimate abilities later on. So as the red team, looks like we are not going to be able to secure this second tribute, so the blue team right now is up on tributes. They've got 2 out of 3 tributes, and once they get that third, the curse will activate for them. The curse will be cast on us. Now right here we're taking a mercenary camp. This is a non-playable enemy, or yeah, a non-player character, or a non-player enemy. And after you defeat them, they will actually fight for you. And they're kind of like super minions. They'll push down your lane, and they usually force the attention of your opponent, because if left unchecked, they will cause siege damage and will push up your team's lane farther into your opponent's base. Meanwhile, up here, we've actually got 4 heroes in the top. And it looks like the third tribute is actually now going to spawn on the bottom. So I've talked while all of the players are moving down there. I've talked about 2 of the game's 4 character classes. One of the game's character classes, the specialist, is actually not present in this replay at all. But the last one is the support. Support is basically healers, and our supports are Oriel on my team as well as Lili on the blue team. And fights in this game just happen so fast. Diablo is being incredibly aggressive, chasing after Vala. Vala has no hit points, receives a heal from Oriel, and that's actually got most of our team now focusing on Diablo. Diablo uses Overpower to throw Arthas over. Looks like Arthas might go down. Toasted Fork just barely managed to get out of there alive. And with Diablo being so aggressive, he's really managing to push the red team back. In that case, though, Artanis overextends, and we are able to isolate him and take him out. So we actually have 5 of our heroes alive on the red team to the blue team's 1. Ooh, but the blue team reaches level 10 first, so they gain access to their ultimate abilities, also called Heroics. Diablo just used his there, which is, it is Apocalypse. Apocalypse. That's when he spawns demonic runes right at the feet of every single player on the opposing team. They have 1.75 seconds to dodge it, and if they don't, they will take damage and be stunned. Usually, if you're paying attention, you can just dodge the ability, but if they're not paying attention, or if it's a crazy team fight, you might actually hit people, or you can use other abilities to stun them first with something else and kind of use that as a combo. We also saw Arthas' ultimate ability right there, or his heroic, as they're more commonly called in this game. That was Summon Syndragosa. He summons a big, like, undead dragon or something, and that actually disables whatever structures that he hits it with. Did not really get much value out of it there. Used it when he was low on health, low on mana, did not actually have that much teammate support, and a quick response from the blue team really prevented that from him getting any value out of it. So we've got the red team is a little overwhelmed down here, so the blue team is managing to take out the front wall and the towers on this bottom fort. So we've got Lili right here. Lili is a healer. She's actually, I feel like I see her a lot in Hero League, but I don't see her a lot in like competitive play. She's a healer. She will automatically target whichever hero has the lowest health with her healing ability. You can't actually choose it. She will just automatically target. And here we have Diablo again being very, very aggressive. But right there, that was actually me, and my ultimate right there, I used the Sanctification ultimate from Tyrael. And the Sanctification ultimate from Tyrael, what it does is it actually creates an area that whatever players on my team is in that area will actually become invulnerable. And from using that, we're able to win that engagement and secure 2 kills from using that Sanctification. We're going for the boss right here, and this is something, as I look at this, it seems a little ill-advised. We killed a few people on the enemy team, but their respawn timers were actually pretty low, because it's still relatively early in the game. Which means they're back up pretty fast, and we didn't have enough time to actually kill the boss before they came back out here. Looks like I might go down here, it's a close call, and I just barely get out of there alive. Looks like my teammates will, and not be so lucky. Toasted Fork as well as Aeris playing as Auriel do not get out of there with their lives. So that was unfortunately a poor choice on our part to attempt that boss. And I explained before the mercenaries. This is kind of like the super mercenary. It's extremely, extremely powerful, but also takes quite a lot of time to take out. Usually, most of the time you need a team effort to do that. There are a select few heroes who can solo a boss, but very few of them. Meanwhile, Greymane looks like he's in a lot of trouble right here, trying to save him, but that might be a little ill-advised too. Here comes Lili to support. I activate Sanctification, however, it only lasts about 3 seconds. It's 3 seconds of invulnerability, and it looks like, I do go down in the process. So, Tyrael has gone down, and what we saw right there was Tyrael's trait, which is after he dies, he becomes this spirit thing that will explode in a few seconds and do some damage. It's actually not a very good trait. And it looks like the red team is having a little bit of trouble right there, and Arthas goes down. We had an attempted Crystal Aegis from Auriel on Arthas. That Crystal Aegis will place that hero in stasis, making them completely invulnerable. And then once it explodes, the crystal will explode, doing quite a bit of damage to any enemy heroes who are caught in the radius of it. The only thing is sometimes it doesn't actually save your enemy hero, your teammates. It doesn't actually save your teammate, because sometimes if you're not already in a winning situation, usually that hero will just end up dying anyway. So we're seeing a few ultimates right there. That ultimate that we saw from Falstad right there was the Mighty Gust. He actually shoots a gust of wind that does no damage whatsoever, but it's actually considered one of the best ultimates in the game. Alright, a lot of crazy things going on. We've also got another ultimate going on. We've got the Crystal Aegis, lots of ultimates. There's the Sanctification as well from Tyrael, and it looks like now we're actually managing to take the advantage in this engagement. We lost Vala, but we managed to kill 3 on the blue team, which is a pretty good advantage for us, and now is actually an appropriate time to take the boss, which is something I mentioned right here. So, one of the things that is a little bit different about this game compared to League or Dota, when you level up, instead of just choosing to basically increase the stats of one ability, at certain tiers of levels, you get access to talents, and that is at certain talent tiers, you get a choice of 3 or 4 different talents, and these are things that can change your abilities a bit, add a bit more dimensions to how you play. It's something that actually has a little bit more variety compared to something like League or Dota, where usually your abilities just get straight statistical bonuses. So, for example, we might have something such as, if I take a look, one of Tyrael's ability is that he can use a shield. He'll get a shield, which basically just gives him some temporary extra health. I have an ability called Reciprocate, or a talent called Reciprocate, which means once the shield expires, it will actually do damage as well. So normally it doesn't do any damage, but once I have that talent, it actually will do damage. And I can use that to be a little bit more aggressive with Tyrael if I just stick on some enemy heroes, especially the lower health ones, such as the assassins or the supports. I'll actually do a little bit more damage to them. Now, generally, you want to try to target the assassins and the supports first, since they tend to be lower health, and they actually also tend to have more impact. However, the whole point of the warriors is kind of act as almost like a shield or a body or a distraction. A lot of things going on right there. Sanctification has now been used, along with a few other ultimates. No heroes actually taken down during the Sanctification. Auriel's the only one to go down, but now Diablo goes down. Can we take on Artanis? Now, the tricky part about trying to take on Artanis is that he activates he has this emergency shielding ability when he's at low health. And whenever he attacks, the more often he can proc that emergency shielding. So it's often a bad idea to attack him in the middle of a team fight, because he's just going to keep regenerating his shields and keep on living, while his other squishier teammates are going to do actually more of the work, which is, again, part of the point of tanks. They're meant to draw the damage, take the damage, and there will often, if you choose to play this game, you will find there will be a lot of whining about players attacking tanks and not attacking healers or assassins, basically, which are the higher impact heroes and are easy to kill. And the reason it actually happens is position. Good play on a, well, partly position. Good play on a warrior is to just be in the right position so that your opponent can't attack your assassins and your supports, so that they don't have much choice but to attack you. Alright, another skirmish going on right here, and a lot of things going on. Ultimate's going down. We have the Mighty Gust from Falstad, as well as the 1,000 Cups, or is it Jugs, from Lili. That's her healing ability. A lot of things going on right here. Things just happen so fast in this game. The team fights happen so fast that it's hard to tell what exactly is going on. But it looks like here we're managing to win this fight, or are we? It's actually 2-2 with myself and Eris. Alright, Eris is not going to make it out of there alive. Manages to use the Crystal Aegis, takes out Artanis, which is actually a pretty good trade. And it's actually now, it is a 2-2, yeah. 2-2, but I think with Li Ming here actually having full health, and the two of us, Greymane and Tyrael, actually having not much health, and a Bosch pushing against us, we actually had to give up that tribute. So we've actually yet to get a curse phase, and we're actually losing quite badly, to be honest. We're down 1 level, which isn't too bad. We are down 3 structures. The blue team still has 5 of their structures, while on the red team, we've only got 2 of ours. We've actually got some powerful minions attacking our core. Now this core, once it gets down to 0% hit points, that will be the end of the game. And once you destroy these inner forts, which are actually called keeps, there will be siege minions, catapults specifically, that will push in, and if they get to the core, they will actually do significant damage to the core, and you need to pay attention and deal with those siege minions. So, meanwhile, right here, this is a new game. I'm finding it a little challenging to cast. Again, I actually feel like the game just moves along at such a fast pace, especially for a MOBA. And it's hard to take a look at all these talents that we see. We've got I'm going to just go through the heroic abilities. We've got Disintegrate from Li Ming. She'll shoot out a long channeled beam that will hit instantly and just persist. Apocalypse for Diablo, which I've already explained. Jug of 1,000 Cups, that's what it's called. That's a very powerful healing ability from Lili. We've got the Suppression Pulse from Artanis. Suppression Pulse is an area of effect, basically just an area of effect attack, will blind any heroes caught in it, which means it will prevent them from hitting with basic attacks. Another Sanctification, I don't know if it was that well used, a lot of things going on. Ultimates are used every time. Looks like Lili's going to go down. Yep, Lili goes down. We're in a relatively late stage of the game, so now respawn timers are very, very long. Vala manages to go down even though the Crystal Aegis was on her. Again, protects her for a little bit, but if there's still someone there to kill her, she will still die. So far, actually, a 2-to-1 hero trade in favor of the red team. So we are going to get this curse, and that means the curse phase will activate for us. Now, Diablo's still here, so he's still trying to stop us. But he's going in just with too many heroes against him, and managed to still take out Auriel anyway, because he just has a lot of power to be very, very aggressive. And meanwhile, over here, we've also got some enemy minions and mercenaries starting to attack us, attack our core. So we need to clear this out, or we will lose the game right here.
Red team's core is under attack.
So here we see, normally this fort right here will attack heroes that are attempting to destroy it. But since the curse is activated, it will not do any such thing. And that basically makes it a lot easier to siege down our opponent's structures. I managed to clear out the siege minions as well as the mercenaries to prevent us from losing the game right then and there. Even though we got the curse, overall we're still definitely losing, and it's a very precarious situation for us. So if I take again a little bit more at the builds that we see that Li Ming right here has taken, she's gotten builds that will increase her arcane orb. That's when she does a really big ball. So she's gone for more of a long range build. She's generally a very long-ranged hero, not choosing to go for teleport builds, however.
And so the curse ends. Perhaps now you realize its value, yes?
Meanwhile, what other heroes do we got? Artanis has gone for a much tankier build, increasing his shielding so that he's a lot, much harder to kill. Vala on our team looks like has gone for an auto attack build, so really just increasing the power of her auto attacks. When she just shoots her arrows like this, she can deal a ton of damage, and she is one of our primary damage dealers. And both Vala as well as Greymane right here are going to do tremendous amounts of damage. I would say their DPS is probably actually higher than the DPS of the opponent, the assassins of our opponents. But both Li Ming and Falstad have their advantages. Looks like right now we're getting a boss, but so is the other team. Now this will force the attention of both of our teams, because we both need to defend this boss. Our team much more so than their team, since their boss is going in on our bottom keep, which is already at very low hit points. Our boss is going to be charging in on a fresh keep that actually still has towers defending it, so it probably won't have as much of an impact. And that's why most of us, if not all of us right here, are really focusing on taking out this boss to really reduce how much damage it does. We're actually super lucky that we managed to keep this keep alive, even just with that sliver of hit points. It might not seem like such a big deal, because, I mean, if they just sneeze on it, that keep will be finished. But what that does mean is that that lane will not have siege minions, those catapults. And these catapults are what are so threatening to the core right here. So as long as those siege minions aren't there, we're not as threatened, and it will just be a lot easier for us to stay in the game. We are still in a very precarious situation. This is not easy. We're at 21 kills to 23, with the red team actually having more kills. This is actually a high number of kills, and you probably won't see this many kills in a real high-level game of Heroes of the Storm. If you actually see real high-level games of Heroes of the Storm, I would say kills actually tend to be more like in the 5 to 12 range. That's how many kills they will get in a game. By this time, also, most games of Heroes of the Storm will actually already be done. This is roughly a 26-minute game, and at 26 minutes, actually a very long game for Heroes of the Storm. Meanwhile, we see Sindragosa go out, ultimates going out all over the place. And there's the Crystal Aegis. Probably not. Oh, Vala gets a heal. There's also the Sanctification to make that invulnerability aura. And Greymane managed to go down, but I think he managed to get some value out of that Sanctification. And we actually managed to kill much of their team. Probably the Sanctification helped out right there. We are going to get that tribute. Unfortunately, again, we've got siege minions as well as siege mercenaries pushing on, so I'm here again clearing that out. Whenever you have mercenaries that are pushing, you usually need to clear that out, otherwise they will cause siege damage. And it forces, whenever someone manages to get siege minions or just any of the mercenaries to basically to push in the lane, it will force the attention, because again, you need to clear it or they will start doing siege damage. And one good strategy can be to try to activate those mercenaries at the start of an objective phase, so that your opponents have to deal with either they split their attention to deal with both the objectives and the mercenaries, or they just focus purely on the objective, which is usually more important, and then they just have to take the siege damage from whatever the minions whatever the minions will do, since they'll be left unchecked. Now, part of what I'm doing here, as well as Greymane too, is I'm actually trying to clear this lane and push it up more, so that we will be a little bit more equipped for dealing with the objective phase, and won't have to deal with one of us having to come back to base to basically prevent us from losing the game, when we also have to worry about losing the game over here. So it's another curse phase, or another tribute phase. There's Sindragosa being summoned again. Now, Sindragosa disables structures, also slows enemy heroes. Where is the Sanctification? Sanctification activated again. Ultimate's just going off all over the place, and it's just pure chaos when this game starts. Diablo is isolated, but most of the heroes that he's chasing around also have very little health. But the heal from Auriel is so crucial, especially on a hero like Greymane. As long as Greymane gets to stay alive, he will do a tremendous amount of damage. His damage is absolutely tremendous. Now we've got Artanis still here, and he's proccing that shield. Whenever you look at his health bar, normally he has the blue health, but whenever you see that white health, that's the shield. Now the good thing is, we actually just won the game. Despite how badly we were losing, we won that team fight. 4 of their heroes are down, and they've got long respawn timers. And at this point, well, we actually just have to run up to their core and just hit it, and we will win. We're having a little bit of hesitation, in part because most of our heroes are actually very low on hit points. So it can be a little bit hard to do that since we're low on hit points. I'm the only one with a full health bar, with the rest of my team actually at a relatively low amount of hit points, less than half their health. So we're going to see Crystal Aegis just to keep Auriel alive a little bit longer. And oh, my Sanctification is on cooldown. That would help a lot in this kind of situation. I activate it right then and there, but we actually managed to win the game even without really needing it.
Red team is victorious.
So, kind of a comeback there. Possibly not the highest level of play, but man, I freaking love this game, honestly. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good night.